Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Klinger2. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why some AAA titles, specifically, most of the time they're at fault for what I'm about to bring up, but I'm talking about the price in video games and just different categories of how I think video games are placed in as far as prices go. So first we're going to talk about complete games on launch with some DLCs, some extra content, scattered throughout the extra game content about a year later most of the time. So first off, we got God of War, $60. You got Mario Odyssey at $60. You got Minecraft, which does have a store that you can purchase stuff from, but as far as the game goes, it's 100% made when you buy it, and you can play with your friends and stuff like that. You can buy a realm if you want to as an addition for an offline server if you're not on all the time, but if you don't want to do that, you can just play with your friends online anyway. So I put this in the complete games on launch. This was $20 when it first came out, around 2011, 2012-ish. Now it's about $30 on average. So yeah, Minecraft, you got Skyrim for $60 on launch. You got Risk of Rain 2, which is an amazing game, for $25 on launch, and there's a DLC for this now, but on launch you play an entirely complete game for $25. That's pretty crazy, and this game is nuts. Monster Hunter Rise, you got $60 complete game again, with the Sunbreak DLC recently, but that's another expansion basically, and the expansions for that game are crazy because most Monster Hunter games have like free expansions that are little game like expansions, but they're free, which is cool. Elden Ring came out like last year, and that's $60 with I think a DLC coming out this year, but this game was obviously took the world by storm for about 3 months, and it was a very successful game for $60 only. Now you got Hades over here with the complete game being about $25-$30. Okay, so now we got a kind of a list of what I'm going for here for complete games on launch. These games, a lot of these games are extremely good. Okay, well that said, they came out. There's very few updates to fix them, as far as I know. What you basically bought was what you got when it came out. And that's kind of my point with this, is these games are fully made games with very little, if at all, microtransactions to play the base game entirely. The DLCs are not, they're full expansions most of the time. They're not actual, just like, here's a skin, here's a this, here's that. This is like an expansion to the game, okay? This is my complete games on launch list, okay? There's a lot more than that, but I'm just kind of giving examples. Next up, we got Early Access. Now, this is mostly for PC. Most of the time, it just does not reach consoles. If it is on consoles, it's like a beta for like a weekend. Or maybe you do get an Early Access code for a game, but it's normally closed, very closed access to those betas. But yeah, we're just going to go through some of these. And a lot of these have released. I'd say about 3 or 4 of these on this list. But at the time, they were early access, and Subnautica is one of them. And when it came out, it was probably about $20, $25 for the early access. Baldur's Gate is $60, which is really expensive for an early access when you're paying a full price tag, but this is also a really established company. I forgot the company off the top of my head, like Leviathan Studios or Larian Studios. And they're very established, so paying $60 for the people who like these games is not that big of a deal for the most part, because you get to play a game that they really like early, because it's going to be polished. Valheim was about $20 when it came out on early access. Sons of the Forest $30, Grounded $30, 7 Days to Die I think is still in early access at $25, Satisfactory at $30, Slime Rancher 2 at $30. Tim was, I think it was about $25 when it came out, because I bought this and then it increased about $40. Now, currently. So, with early access, what I'm trying to say is basically these games aren't complete by any means, but at least you can basically pay to play the game early. That's how these games, attract people in. So basically, it gives the people that are like making these games some money to actually make the game with. The more people play it, the more money they get, obviously, to add more stuff into the game. Now, I know the whole thing about early access, like never coming out of early access, but besides the point, these games for the most part, you kind of get what you paid for. They are kind of broken at launch and stuff like that, but you come back a couple years later, sometimes you just buy them at a cheap price on the front end, and then you just play the full game a couple years later, like Temtem, that's what I did. So there's this category of games that I think are very well-rounded in price, because most of the time they don't have stores. They're basically complete games to a degree. It's like they're complete in the sense that they're a game that doesn't have like anything else. They're being built still, so they're completed to that current state that they're in. They don't have any microtransactions and stuff like that most of the time. I say most of the time because there are probably some that have microtransactions for some reason, but I wouldn't support that, to be honest. Next up, we got the full price games with missing portions and full intentions for microtransactions. This is the category that I hate the most. This is the category that I really think should have restrictions on what they should do, because you got some big name players in this, and these are sometimes the most sold games per year. So we got Call of Duty, we got Modern Warfare 2 last year coming at $70 because they got the new $10 price increase for your average copy. Got Halo Infinite, which is free for the multiplayer, but the campaign's $40, but I'm going to get to a reason why I put this on this list. We got Battlefront 2, big issue when it came out with weird leveling progression and getting Sith Lords and Jedis was not really easy at the start, and this was a huge debacle when it came out. Next up, we got NBA, just in general sports games. You can substitute this for any sports game you want. $60. Okay, I'm going to go over this. So, Call of Duty, we got a $70 game that has a full store, a battle pass, and on top of all that, this cycles out like every few months, and they keep adding stuff to that store routinely. Absolutely routinely. And this is after a $70 price tag. Okay, this is, you can buy up to $100, I think, when the game, like the Ultimate Edition or whatever. But we're talking a $70 game for microtransactions that cost literally a third of a price that a complete game on launch costs. $20. You can buy one skin with a few extra things bundled in with it that you're not going to use, except that one skin that you want. For $70 on launch, and you're talking about even a $20 skin, if you buy 3 of those, you bought an entire game. If you buy one of those, you can pretty much buy Minecraft. If you bought one of those, you can buy basically Risk of Rain. You can buy pretty much Hades. These insanely good games for one microtransaction, okay? And the Battle Pass are normally about $10, and you can buy some tiers to skip them for about another $5. So you're talking like huge monetization here. And a lot of the reason why this is on here is because all these games, except maybe the sports games, their predecessors did have all this stuff. They would have been in the complete game on launch category. They don't anymore. And that's why they're on this list. Call of Duty used to be a game where you could log on there, make your own emblems on your guns. It's probably got to the point where you can make your own emblem in general. And I'm pretty sure that was a thing in Black Ops. Okay, you can basically make your own skins for guns. You can make your own emblems for guns. They will never do that anymore because it's too profitable not to do that. Okay, so with that said, they took away a lot of player freedom by adding in microtransactions, and that's very annoying. Halo Infinite. Halo was a game built upon progression through achievements with your skins. Okay, that was a big deal. You got the Hayabusa skin. That was probably the coolest skin in Halo 3, next to like maybe the EVA. No, maybe not the EVA. Some people like that. But I don't know. At the end of the day, my point is Halo Reach had a system where it was kind of like a casino thing. Like after each round, you kind of got like points that you would spend on the shop to increase your like gear, make it look cool and stuff like that. Now they substitute all that crap for basically making it free so they can basically make it a quote-unquote live service, but it's not really a live service because it was never a thing in Halo. Okay, this is the kind of the big point here. All the skins that were in that shop, especially the like color cosmetics and stuff like that, would have been 100% in the game on launch in the other ones. But now they're charging money for this, and that's very, very annoying. The $40 campaign, whatever. I mean, most campaigns for Halo anymore are a joke. I'm not saying this one's a joke, but I'm just saying it's probably mid at best. Okay, that's pretty much my consensus across the board when I watch people play the campaign. I didn't buy it, so I can't really rate it on that. I just know it's about $40. Okay, moving on, we got Battlefront 2. Like I said, big issue on launch with EA basically halting progression to make people want to buy stuff in-game. Okay, this was not a deal in the original Battlefronts. You basically got all the characters and stuff like that to play when you bought the game. Okay, like I said, I'm kind of repeating. These games that are on this full price games with missing portions, they are missing portions and getting filled in with microtransactions. These games have full-fledged, like, they are built in with these capabilities, but they're restricted to microtransactions because that's how they make money now. It's kind of annoying. We got NBA. any sports game has those card things you buy to make your fantasy team pimped out. Okay, that's how those games work. They functionally work on microtransactions. It is a functionally gambling addicted game. Okay, when you talk about microtransactions, you talk about the loot boxes. These games are built around gamblers buying cards that they can get to make their team 99 overalls. Okay, that is how these games function. The price tag of $60 is literally the buy-in cost for a gambling casino. Okay, it is quite literally, you spend, I would say, if you're actually into these games, you're spending close to at least 120, probably closer to about 200 for being realistic here, just to get the team that you want and make your character go through the ranks faster. Okay, that's not okay by any means. They need to really restrict that or make these games go free to play, one or the other. So I'm going to get into the last category here. I spent a lot of time on that because I don't like that. That's my main reason I made this video, is because of this category. Next up, we got games as a service, or games that really are live services but are shown not as live services. So we got Destiny 2, specifically 2, because 1's still paid for, and this kind of went free about, I think after the first couple DLCs went free, so it wasn't completely a service game, but now it completely is a service game. Fortnite, we got free, Apex free, Overwatch free, World of Warcraft free to play monthly zone. I don't know why I put zone, but it's monthly subscription. League of Legends free, but that's kind of iffy. I'll talk about that in here in a sec. Elder Scrolls is free, but you have to. It has no. Okay, I take it back. It's not free. You pay for it, but as yearly installments with no subscription. Okay, that's kind of cool. They have no subscription. That's a big deal when it comes to MMOs. Wizard 101, free but paid zones, or you get the little crown pass where you can walk around the entire area. All right, so let's get into this. Destiny, it's free, so you can basically go in there. You can play the content that it gives you that's free, but at some point you either got to get the DLCs or you got to basically get the DLCs, because that's how you get the more exclusive raids and stuff like that. And Destiny is very successful, and they were doing this before it went free. Okay, they were doing this on Destiny 1 and stuff like that, where you would basically have to buy the new expansions every year to keep up with the game, which is, it's fine. They're expansions. They're not like DLCs. They're full blown expansions that you and your friends can hop on and basically play an extension of Destiny, which is the reason why expansions are cool. I don't have an issue with that at all, frankly, and it's free. So you can't really, when a game's free, you can't complain as you paid $70 for it and they made DLC for it. Okay, if you went into this game currently without never having to play Destiny beforehand, you went into this game free, and you just have to buy up to that point of DLCs, which is normally you can get them on sale and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Fortnite is completely free to play the game. Skins are optional. So this game is the one that revolutionized what the full price games with missing portions are, because they figured out that Fortnite made a butt ton of money from this. Why can't I make a butt ton of money from this and still charge $70 up front? They missed the point where Fortnite was free, and it basically all you had to do, if you really wanted a skin, you paid the skin price, the $20 price tag, and it was more profitable than paying for a game up front. My point is, overall, the full price games should be free or extremely inexpensive. I'm talking $20 starting out. And then if they're going to keep these shops and they're going to keep these battle passes, they need to keep one or the other. They cannot have a battle pass and a shop, or they cannot have a battle. Basically, they have to choose either having a full-blown shop or a full-blown battle pass. There shouldn't be a rule that says that, and you cannot basically double dip. If you're going to have these microtransactions, there has to be a restriction on how expensive your game can be on launch. Be either $30, maybe nothing more than $30, honestly. Nothing more than $30. If you're going to bank on microtransactions being your carry, you cannot have your game more to be $30. I don't care what your game is. If that is your entire profit scheme, it should be no more than $30. And next up, we got Apex, which is basically the same thing as Fortnite. You get the battle pass, you get something in the shop, and that's how they make their money. Overwatch 2. Now, this one could have gone in the full price game submission portions, but it's not, because it's free. That's the reason why it's not there. This game would have been in that category if it was actually $60. And the reason is because they took away a lot of the things from Overwatch 1, but they actually made the game free, so it's more reasonable now that you can actually go in there and buy this stuff and you can play the game for free. But if you want the skins, you can go and buy the skins. You don't have to wait there and like grind through all that stuff you had to grind through in the first one to get one skin or get the loot boxes. Next up, we got World of Warcraft. You basically it's free to play, but really it's not. Like, it's free to play, but just like buy a subscription. That's like how those games work. League of Legends is a little bit more this weird like boundary scenario where it's kind of like in between, where League is completely free to play. Absolutely zero cost down. You can play this game 100% without ever spending a single dime on it. Okay. When it comes down to it, people complain about it. It's because the champions, after a certain point, do actually get pretty hard to unlock. So, my recommendation, I play a lot of League. So, if you're going to play League, play around a lot in single, like the normal area, and play with a lot of the free champs. And then just literally test them out until you find two that you really like. And then use your blue essence to buy those two champions, and then never play anybody else until you either get bored of the game and don't want to play it anymore, or just whatever. Just play two champions and that's it. And play that for a while and then branch off to a third champion. That's really all you need to do in League of Legends to make it more fun and more affordable for your wallet. That's just a tip. Good. The Elder Scrolls Online is yearly installments, but no subscription, and you have to pay for those yearly installments, which makes it a games as a service. I'm pretty sure there's microtransactions in there as well, but for the most part, I can get away with the yearly installment if there's no sub. And you're getting a full-blown like DLC. You're not just getting like, oh, here's an entry to this game. You have to like pay all these microtransaction stuff for. You're like actually getting a full-blown like story thing. There are always sometimes some that are better, some that are worse. But you're getting an expansion to the game that you already have, and if you wait, you can actually like play the game pretty much completely. And that's how that game was built. That's another reason. Okay, that game was built that way. The game is centered around the yearly installments. These original games and these franchises and the full price games with missing portions, they intentionally ripped content from the game to make them microtransactions. These games were not built like this to begin with, and they did it because they're greedy. That is exactly why they did it. They did not do this because they were itching for money, because the games weren't being successful. They did it because they're greedy. Okay? That's the only reason why they do this. Because these games are highly successful. Call of Duty is by far one of the most sold games, period, every year. It does not matter if they release the worst Call of Duty in the franchise or the best Call of Duty in the franchise. It just goes from the most sold game to breaking records. That's the only thing that Call of Duty does when they sell games. It really just, this whole argument makes me like, it wiles me up, to be honest. And then you got basically Blizzard 101, which like I said is free, but you have paid for zones that you can either buy permanently or you can buy the Crown Pass to basically walk through the game. So it kind of has the opposite. It basically takes the World of Warcraft method, honestly. Overall, I mean, like I said, the full price games with missing portions is my main reason why I made this. Because you basically have these games where these studios or the big corporations ripped player freedom from the game to basically make them pay twice for the game to get those original things that should have been in the game. And it's pretty absurd, really. When you're comparing something to like complete games on launch, where you basically pay for entertainment up front and you get what you pay for. I think, like, for sure, the full price games without missing portions are still fun. I'm not gonna lie, I still have Call of Duty, I still play Call of Duty, I played Halo. It's not as good as the other ones, but it's still fun. You know, Battlefront's pretty fun. Sports games are sports games. I don't find them that fun, but they're sports games. You know, they're still fun games. It's just they took portions out of the game that should have been there. Completely should have been there. And that's my main gripe. Thank you for my TED Talk, I guess. Bye.